I stumbled across a little while ago NFT Twitter. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, an NFT. Let me try and get something up. An NFT is so it's a non-fungible token, which essentially is like it works on the blockchain, so much like Bitcoin, but essentially instead of keeping a record of a transaction that's taken place and how many Bitcoins or Dogecoins or Litecoins or Ethereum, whatever you've got, it goes like you own this piece of art or whatever. So let's keep art as the example. So, I can draw a picture and I can sell you the NFT, which means that anyone can access the picture, but you own it, okay? And it doesn't necessarily mean you own it in any useful way. So, if it's a picture, you don't own the rights to that picture. You can't decide who uses it when. You don't really own anything at all. You just sort of get to feel like you own it. And it's just amazingly bizarre because it really fascinates. It really fascinates me that the mindset behind it, because some people really go for it, and have really decided that this changes art, right? That this is something like. So, like I was saying, I stumbled across NFT Twitter. In fact, shall I try and find some NFT tweets, because they are amazing. So if I go hashtag NFT. People really go for this stuff, right? And they really consider themselves financial freedom for artists, building a protocol dedicated to NFT artists, which is really interesting that people think about the way in which they are potentially making money from their work, but probably most of them aren't making any money from it. Changes the way they think of themselves as an artist, even though you're still just doing illustration on a computer. Sorry, just makes it sound like you're still doing the same thing, basically, is what I mean. In fact, in the chat, someone was saying, good point. Emily Campbell was saying, so kind of like those pieces of paper you can buy saying you're a lord of a patch of land in the Orkney Islands or whatever, but you don't actually have any legal bearing. Yes, right? It's the same as those things where you buy a gift for someone that's you own Orion's belt, right? But you also absolutely don't in any meaningful sense whatsoever. I suppose, in fact, the more specific thing would be to say so I'll come to your super chat in a second, Jacob. It's almost like saying that it's almost like if there was actually a sort of way of deciding who owned each and every single star in the sky, and you could buy that star, but also but then you take into account the fact that you're stuck to the Earth and you can't get there and you can't do anything with it, right? That's probably the better example. So you sort of own it, yeah, but everyone else can see it in exactly the same way you can, and there's no way to do anything about it. I want to find when people get really into it, it's absolutely fascinating. You see people we're gonna all of us NFT artists, we're gonna raise each other up, and we're gonna be and I think it really preys on this need, doing any kind of creative thing is always difficult and competitive and challenging in many, many different ways. But particularly in the sense that financially, right? It's really hard to make to make ends meet doing most creative things for most of the people that are interested in doing that thing, right? There's always going to be a level where you can be a superstar artist, or you can do a creative job in an office for whatever reason. But it's really, really difficult. And I think one of the things that the sort of NFT thing does, it's a bit of a bubble, right? Is that it's preying on that precarity under which most people who want to do something creative for a living live. And people respond to that because of course they do, because they make digital art, which is something it's very difficult to make money out of, and this is saying, look, here's a way you can make money out of it. I wonder how many of the people that are buying this stuff are actually doing it because they're hoping to sell their stuff in the future, right? They want to keep the bubble afloat so that they can be one of the people that then sells their own stuff. And I'm sure there are interesting ways in which people are using NFTs. But ultimately, eBay announces it will allow NFTs to be sold on this platform. Ultimately, the things in themselves are nonsense. And in fact, the most interesting ways that I've seen it being used, the only ways where I'd go, okay, you get some value in return for that, are ones in which it is about if you own so if I released one of my videos, say everyone can just watch it on YouTube, but I sell 1,000, what do they call them? I can't think what they call them. If I sell 1,000 a run of 1,000 NFTs of it as well, 1,000 people get to own that video, and that means you get to have an extra chat with me afterwards or something, right? What a horrible reward. But those are the most interesting ones, and I'd go, well, that's just Patreon. That's just other things that already exist and don't, as far as I know, just totally destroy the planet, right? Because that's the other element, is that for the computers to do the maths whilst it's to say that you've bought the NFT, computers just have to they have to do so much energy that it's really, really bad for the planet. So Lenny Triem in the chat is saying maybe they're like Bitcoins with fun digital art stamps on the coins. I mean, the connection to Bitcoin, I think, is really important, because I know it's just dropped recently. I mean, but previously it was doing okay for a little bit. But I think the reasons it had, and I might be getting this, I don't know everything about this, but I think NFTs have been helping to drive it recently as well, because I think people are starting to go okay, actually, Bitcoin's never going to take off as a thing that people use as currency, because it doesn't work very well for that. There's something about the Bitcoin ledgers or whatever only update every 10 minutes. So a maximum, you might have to wait 10 minutes to make a payment. So for a little while, Tesla were accepting Bitcoin as a payment to buy your Tesla car. But the problem is, because it can take 10 minutes for the thing to go through, the amount of Bitcoin can go up or down. So suddenly you've not paid enough for your Tesla car, because in the 10 minutes, that's not, the rate of exchange back to the US dollar, because Tesla don't have a stable Bitcoin price for their cars, because of course they don't. It fluctuates ridiculously. So you end up paying either more or less for, you can put the thing through and then you've actually not paid enough for your car and you've got to pay more anyway. So it doesn't work as so cryptocurrencies don't work as currency. They only work as a thing that is a speculative it's not. I think the crucial thing that financial people say is that it's wrong to describe Bitcoin as, or any other cryptocurrency, as an investment, because an investment is something that you get dividends from, as well as being able to sell it in the future. Instead, it is speculation. Sorry, I'll come to that super chat in a minute. Thank you so much. Instead, it is speculation, because you're buying it just in the hope that the price goes up and you can sell it later. And I think people have started to see through that. And I wonder whether NFTs have come along quite usefully, because they pretend that there is a substance to it. It provides some way of pretending that there is a substance to this, right? Because you're buying a thing, you're not because the art sort of makes it feel like it's more of a thing than you're just buying the nonsense. Even though you are still buying the nonsense, I absolutely promise you. It is just a Bitcoin with a picture on it.